200 days this year out of 365. Oh, well, that's, I said, exactly. But what I'm telling you is the closest thing to guaranteed success because it's permanent change, not temporary change. So for you, if you're sick and tired of the cyclical cycle you have in a business, start by making one massive permanent change today.
Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode 372. Hope you're amazing as always. Do you know what? I really hope that you're enjoying these episodes. I really do. I'm putting a lot of thought and time into them. I'm even giving you a clip show for you guys and girls who haven't got the full hour to listen to the others. And I've been making them more bite-sized. Do you know what I mean? I hope you're into it. And I really hope that you're loving the last few. We've got Ed Mylett with his wisdom around goal setting. We've got a 15-year-old CEO from Shark Tank. I love it. We've got psychedelics and life expansion with Russell Brand and Kanye West. Do you see how I'm mixing these things up for you? You've got other shows just giving you nonsense. Hey, I'm giving you some good stuff. Is being happy the secret to making millions? The short answer to that is, it should be. It should be, different ways we can earn money. But really, today's episode is pretty cool. It's a clip from a guy who's I've followed for quite a few years, but he's really blown up over the past, I don't know, was it since going on Rogan? I'm not sure. But I love this guy. He's down to earth, but full of ego. But he's really humble under it all because it just comes from wisdom. Patrick Bet-David, you might know him as Valuetainment. That's probably where you know his brand, but he's awesome, and he's not just about business. He's even brought he owns a big business, but he brought on psychic numerologists to tell him about how this affects business. He's an open book for sure, right? For sure. And I just love his stuff. I love his podcast. And again, with everything that you want to be following with mentorship and coaches and gurus, if you want to call them that, probably best not call them that, but if you want to call them that, then the thing is they have to have already achieved or have wisdom in the thing that you're wanting to achieve yourself. Do you know what I mean? And if they've got no experience in that, then you probably want to keep looking. This is why I love Patrick, right? Because he's got all of that experience. He was a top salesperson. He's run a big insurance companies. He's investor. He knows his stuff. And that's what you need to be looking for. I posted something the other day. Let me see if I can find it. It was in the Facebook group on Facebook, obviously. But let me have a little look. It's, what did I say? I said, wisdom only comes from thousands of hours of experience. Put yourself around that, not hype and talk. And unfortunately in this game, you have a lot of hype and a lot of talk and not much wisdom behind it. It was interesting. And when I was putting a project together with Ryan, my old business partner, he said he was contacted by a 21-year-old who was seeing if he wanted to use her coaching because she works with CEOs and executives. Now, his point was, I'm running a multi-million-dollar business, and some 21-year-olds have already done that. But if you haven't done that, and you've not been a CEO, and you've not run a team, and you've not done high-level sales, and you've not had experience more than 10 years, what are you doing? You should probably look at my profile first, right? And it's kind of the point. Everyone can have a niche. Everyone can have a niche, right? We can zone in on stuff. But the truth is, what's the wisdom? Not what they've learned, not knowledge, right? Knowledge means nothing. It really doesn't. You could read a book, you've got knowledge. But if you've never implemented that book, you don't know what it's like, right? And that's the truth. So again, be careful. Be around wisdom. That's why I've done this game for 20 years. Work with the best in the world. And I got that wisdom. And I just don't want to see people hurt. I want to see people happy. I want to see coaches and clients and sales pros and real estate people have massive success through high-level sales. So that's what I do. But going back to David. Today's episode is really interesting because the clip is about why only a few people succeed, right? Why only a few people succeed. And it's not because, quick little insight, let's go there. Quick little insight is we can get pumped up and basically you have a certain level of willpower that will drive you forward, or you'll have a chemical boom, like from a pump-up seminar or something like that, and you'll be feeling awesome. Your states change, neurology is built, chemicals are pumping, your biology, your neurochemicals, all a very different version of you. Your filter system, you're seeing the world a different way, and you're ready and you feel good. But what happens after a short period of time? Yeah, that willpower goes away. The chemicals adjust to the old software in the brain, the old patterns, the old behaviors, the old beliefs. And then we end up getting stuck again, right? That becomes the challenge. So what he's talking about is actually lasting change. And there's something we can add to what he says in this. And I'm going to add it to it, of course. But it's the truth, man. It's the absolute truth. And that's why people go to these seminars, to get a brand new perspective. And that's powerful. That's really powerful. But it's like going to the gym and you do a 6-week boot camp. You come out there shredded, so fit, jacked, and then you don't do anything. Well, maybe train once a week. After that, do you think you're going to get the same results as what you did in that boot camp? No, man, of course you're not, right? That's what mentoring, that's what coaching, and that's why I created the Unfair Advantage Academy, right? Plain and simple. Real estate agents, sales pros, closers, coaches, this is going to be your home. I'm going to show you some high-level NLP, behavioral psychology, all of that good stuff. Neuroscience. I'm going to show you the 2% of what you need, which to give you that edge. And I'm going to build a home for you to come through it for 12 months where you're going to have a badass community. We're going to bring in world-class guests. We're going to analyze their brain. All of this good stuff. So that's the Unfair Advantage Academy. It's coming out, in the next week or two. Fingers crossed. Maybe even the next week. So I'll let you know. But for now, go to andymurphy.online and jump into a list so I can let you know, or find me on social media. Andy Murphy Mindset. Nice and easy. So back to David. Because he really has massive experience, I want to show this because, like everybody, right? We all get excited about new projects, but can you finish them? We all get excited about new friendships or business relationships, but can you use them and develop them and help each other? And it's like New Year's resolutions, right? How long do they last? A couple of weeks, tops, maybe a few days, right? And we justify why you are wherever you are. It's justification, right? Because if we justify where we are, then we don't have to feel bad about where we're not. Does that make sense? And we shouldn't ever feel bad about where we're not. We should just get very clear on where we're going and then get very excited and start taking action. And what happens is you've got to have a game plan. You've got to have a strategy, not just for making sure that you're in absolute peak performance, making sure that the whole business flow, the funnel, the lead generation, the marketing, the branding is all dialed in for sure, but making sure that you are in a position that you're constantly expanding, right? Constantly expanding is the only way the business grows. It's how you move from 5 to 6 to 6 to 7 to 7, 8. It's because you set up the system, but you are in a position mentally that you're leading. So you can expand, so you can handle that level of weight with the amount of people, with the amount of contacts, the amount of, you get the idea, and that level of money. It's all a growth journey, man. And if we understand that your brain works just like a muscle, then we have to really design those patterns or those behaviors so we can automate them. So then you start expanding and becoming, you know that little glimpse that you have in your head of that badass you? That's the one that we start pumping the brain muscle for right here, right now. That's how we create permanent change, and that's what David's on about today, right? He gives you a beautiful way to do this. I'll throw some stats and some science in there, but hey, we've got to follow who has already got the experience and wisdom, right? Everyone else has to go away. It has to. Do you want the roadmap or do you want a map, right? The map can show you the world, but you might just be going from New York to LA or just around the corner to the supermarket. Whatever it is. So let's jump into this. Make sure that you're hitting the show notes for all the awesome links. Make sure that you're writing a review for me. Make sure you're sharing this with somebody today. Make sure that you're sharing it, and just make sure that you're kicking ass in general. So there we go. Let's go and hang out with David, and we'll see you at the end of the show.
So you ever wonder why some people have seasonal growth versus constant growth? What does this mean? Some people are like, oh my God, I'm so motivated and excited. I'm going to go take over the world. And boom, their business goes up, goes up, goes up. I just made $193,000 in a month and we're killing it. Our top line revenue, and then boom, 32,000. I was just 462,000. Seasonal versus constant. What's the difference? Let me explain it to you. Let me get right into it. Two things. It's about 13 years ago. I'm sitting down with one of our best guys whose business does $40 million a year of insurance. I'm sitting down with them and we're talking, why is my business going through this? Finally, I'm like, can I just explain to you why your business keeps doing what it's been doing the last 6 years for you? He says, yes. I said, here's why. I said, you don't make permanent changes. You always make temporary changes. What do you mean? Let me explain. Temporary changes. You read a book. You watch a video. You watch a movie, you get on a very fiery Zoom, event, somebody challenges you, motivates you, makes you believe you can do something, you get inspired. So you make changes. You stop drinking soda. You stop eating bread. You stop fooling around. You stop getting drunk every night. You say, I'm not going to smoke weed right now because I'm going to stay focused. And then your business starts growing, life starts growing. And then boom, you reach new milestones. And then you go back to drinking soda, alcohol, weed, everything that you were doing, because you don't know how to make permanent changes. You keep making temporary changes. You ever heard people when I was I watch Rocky. I'm fired up. I'm going to go work out at the gym for 6 hours. That's not the right way to do it. I would much rather have you watch Rocky and watch a video that fires you up and say, the next 2 weeks, no matter what, I'm at the gym 30 minutes every single day for 4 days a week, okay, the next 2 weeks. That's what I'm going to be doing. And even that, I would much rather you do 20 minutes of workout 3 times a week for the rest of your life. Let me say that one more time. Not 6 hours in one day, not an hour 4 times a week for the next 12 months, and that's it. I'd much rather you do 20-minute workout 3 times a week for the rest of your life, because that's a permanent change.
Okay, crew. Okay, let me jump in there. I love what David's saying there. Of course, he's a badass. But it's true, right? Because what people do is they get all motivated and pumped up, like I was talking about with the neurology before. And what happens is they get something in the brain. The brain replicates basically whatever it is around the most. So if you're around a pump-up seminar, it's beautiful because your brain starts to adapt to that new environment, those new beliefs, the energy of the people, right? So everything starts to change. But the challenge is the old patterns or behaviors are big, thick, strong, and easy to do, right? So what happens is when you start missing days because it's so hard, the pain, you've set the goal at your highest energy, and then you make these decisions about what you're going to do at your highest energy. And then when your energy is not that high or as high as that, then it's very easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it after, right? I'll do it later on. And the challenge because of that, how habits are formed through micro steps, is that you then start to allow the other patterns in the brain to start taking over because that was the default setting, right? It's a set point. And what we're trying to do is move that set point to something else, right? And when we can understand that, what we want to be able to do is actually train a new pattern in the brain to win. Because all neurology wants to do is loop. The brain software just wants to loop and complete. So when we can understand that and go, okay, well, if I allow these smaller steps to create wins, those wins then create a new habit because they'll go into something called an unconscious competent where a habit is formed. It becomes automatic. And at that point, then it becomes easier and easier to break the old pattern and make a new decision, even in the moment, right? Not even dependent on the feeling you're having in that moment. It just becomes so automatic. It becomes a routine. It becomes what you do. And that's what he's talking about. So rather than shooting for the stars, shoot for the moon. The moon's way closer. You probably hit that, right? It's the same with, everyone talks about being a billionaire these days. The most random thing. Why wouldn't you want to be a millionaire or a decamillionaire? Well, there's a lot more of those, isn't there? That's way more achievable. So when he talks about that, what we need to understand in a business context is be able to set achievable goals when we start anything, including on your program. You want to get people to feel like they're winning straight away. You want to do it for yourself. So when we can feel that absolute change inside of us straight away, then we know we're getting results, which means that we're more motivated to do it again. Does that make sense? I hope so.
This is a lifestyle. This is guaranteed. This is temporary. This, you watched a video, you got excited. This, you watch a motivational video, oh my God, I'm gonna go take over the world. And then you come back down. This is temporary, this is permanent. It's mathematically impossible for you to think that life is dramatically gonna change by you making temporary changes. It's not, it's the permanent changes. Now, when it comes down to permanent changes, the problem why so few of us make permanent changes is because we put the pressure of trying to change 7 different areas and you ain't gonna do it. Permanent changes don't work if you do 7 different things at a time. Permanent changes work if you do one thing at a time. So years ago in 2013, 2012, I had an emergency meeting in a hotel in Glendale, California, and I brought everybody in. I introduced a new concept. It was called DMAs, Daily Monitoring Activity. What's Daily Monitoring Activity? Here's what I want you to do. What's your biggest day in phone calls? One guy said, I made 300 calls in a day. Awesome. What's your biggest day in running sales appointments? I ran 8 appointments in a day. Great. What's your biggest day in going out there and prospecting? I got 128 new numbers in a day at a networking event that was held at a convention center, and here's the business cards. Great. But here's what the DMA is. What's the DMA? No matter what you do, I don't care if you're not in the right mood. I don't care if the Lakers lost. I don't care if things are not going your way. No matter what, I want you to make 50 calls a day. I want you to run, no matter what, 4 appointments a day. I want you to, no matter what, prospect 5 people a day. Oh, I can do that. I know you can do that. It's not that I don't think you can do that. But I want you to do that 200 days this year out of 365. Oh, well, that's, I said exactly. But what I'm telling you is the closest thing to guaranteed success because it's permanent change, not temporary change. So for you, if you're sick and tired of the cyclical cycle you have in a business, start by making one massive permanent change today in your business and your life, and you'll be blown away by what's going to happen. Now, if you're a little bit more ambitious and you want to do more, do 3, but don't do anything more than 3 and stick to it and see what happens to your.
Okay, crew, let me jump in there. So what you've got to understand about also setting goals, right? Or a vision, or what he talks about is these daily monitoring activity. That's badass, right? I love it. I call it a baseline, whether it's a baseline income or baseline what you're going to do. And the truth is we can get caught up in those daily activities, and it can, we can lose sight of the reason why we're doing it, or the driver, or the emotional connection to taking that action, right? So we can anchor or link those things together. But the truth behind it is it becomes very easy sometimes to make old decisions because old behaviors are more dominant in the brain and nervous system. Remember, that makes sense, right? So because it's like that, we have to also use our ability to be able to control our perspective, right? From internal to external, sure, from extrinsic to intrinsic, right? Or the other way around, I should say, intrinsic to extrinsic, inside out. And also, then we've got to be able to, as we're doing the work, to be able to look up and step out. So we're looking from a detached point of view, or a third-party perspective, or 1,000-foot view, and understand or remind ourselves or connect this physical action that we're doing right now, these micro steps, into the bigger picture of what the purpose is of why we're doing this. Otherwise, we can lose the drive, we can lose the passion, we can lose the focus, we can lose those decisions that we want, right, to do something different. And that's a skill that I love to teach people, but it's also a skill that you've got to learn for yourself, as well as if you come in the academy or coaching or whatever it is. You've got to learn this skill. And so if you're seeing, for example, with sales, if you're seeing like 8 people a day and you get 6 no's, right? You know, that repetition, it's like getting hit in the head a lot. It doesn't feel good, it really doesn't, especially if we're emotionally connected to each one of those calls. And the challenge is, because we're in doing it, right? We're in the trenches, we're in doing the work. It's very easy to get caught up in a different way of seeing the world. And so before those last 2 calls, if you, again, reset yourself, put yourself into a new state, created a new outcome, created a new emotions, got clear on the outcome, but the bigger picture, got clear on who you are then, brought it back to now, and then jumped on that call with a very clear objective, but in the right energy, with the right focus, with the right belief. It's going to affect the words that you say, how you say them. And when we can do that, you'll probably close the next 2 deals, right? Just very simple for you salespeople out there. So when we can understand that, it creates that constant motivation. So then it's very easy, what he calls daily monitoring activity, I call a baseline. So it becomes very easy to do that, because each time you do that, or it's like getting those last 2 deals where out of 10 you close 3, or you close 7, right, out of those 10. So if that's normal for you and you're not hitting that, then you understand that something's wrong inside of you. It's never the leads, although the leads can be shitty sometimes. It's never that. What it's generally to do with is it's always you. Everybody can be closed. Everybody, right? It's just not necessarily for everybody, right? So that's pre-qualifying before you do anything. So at the end of the day, everyone can be closed. It just depends. If it's a right fit for them, they can afford it, right? Or even if they can't afford it to the degree, but they're so focused on that bigger picture and it's right for them and they can stretch themselves and achieve that, then they can be closed, right? Ethically closed. So when we can understand that closing is all about us, sales is all about us, right? Marketing and branding is a separate thing to a degree, but it's still all about us, right? Personal branding, I suppose. But when we get that, then it becomes very easy to hit that baseline. It becomes very easy to stay motivated. It becomes very easy to make new decisions. And the whole point of this episode was it becomes very easy to make permanent changes. Now, I'm not going to tell you how many days is on average it takes to create a new habit, but it's probably not the one you're thinking. So ask me somewhere, ask me on social media, ask me in the group, ask me in person inside the academy, ask me. But I bet you're saying the wrong number. Okay? So let's do something different. That's the end, crew, of episode 372. Here we go. Hope you enjoyed David and my extra info. But until the next time, kick ass. Much love. And make sure you're checking out the show notes. Make sure you're hanging out with me on Andy Murphy Mindset on all social media. Make sure that you're heading over to andymurphy.online for all the new websites, all the new info, and how to join the Unfair Advantage Academy with us. And what else? That's it for now. So you keep kicking ass, and I will see you on the next show. Oh, one more thing. Why don't you smile for me?
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.